And welcome back to Music Free Gaming. I hope you're having a fabulous day. It is Thursday. It is great to have you here because you are great and wonderful and amazing. And, that's just the way it is. Sorry, you can't dispute it. That's just how it is. We're going to be back in Minecraft because Minecraft is fun. If you missed it, yesterday I did do a bonus stream playing a game called Dark Shift. So check that out. That's up on the YouTube channel at Music Free Gaming. So check that action out. And today we're going to be back in the Minecraft doing Minecrafty things because, that's what you do in Minecraft is you do all the Minecrafty things. I know some of you were shocked. You were thinking, hey, you're in Minecraft. You must be doing Fortnite-y things. Nope, it's 100% Minecrafty things and we're going to do them. That's just how it works. Okay, so basically what I'm going to be doing is a heck of a lot of digging. So I'm going to be building a guardian farm here, but I need to evict, well, I've evicted the previous occupants, I think. Now I just need to pack up all their stuff and put it on the curb for the garbage to pick up. So that is what we're doing here today. We're going to be cleaning out and basically tearing down this ocean monument. Now, oh, hi, there's water here. Okay, I need to be sure that there's not water because water means guardians and that's bad. So we're just going to also pick up that iron. So yeah, so I'm just going to be digging out this whole thing. And we'll figure out what the heck is going to happen with... oh. Okay. I do need to be careful not to, break my beacon. Okay. We're still haste toing. So that's good. Yeah. All right. So anyway, I need to figure out what's going to happen with the actual farm. I've had some thoughts. I don't know if they're coherent. Judging by the stream so far, I think coherence is not high on the list of things I have going for me today. But, we're only 2 minutes in, so there's hope that it might get better. But if past performance is any indicator, that's a little unlikely. Just saying. I know what my streams are like, and coherent is rarely one of the words I would use to describe it. All right, but we're going to tear down all of this good stuff out here. Yeah, and need to be sure that all of the water that's in here gets torn out because I really don't want guardians spawning anywhere around here, okay? That would be bad. Also, I can turn off the gamma override now. I had that on for a lot of the stream on Tuesday because it was just dark. Just dealing with all of the guardians and all of the places where they could be. Yeah, it was just dark. Okay, so... All right, so we'll just start tearing all this stuff out. And yeah, I will put in some temporary torches just to keep other mobs from spawning. Because while I don't want guardians here, I also don't need, zombies or creepers or skeletons or all of those people either. That would be unfortunate. So instead, we're going to, hopefully keep things reasonably well lit. So how y'all doing? Hope you're having a good day. My day existed, work and stuff, because, that's the joy of having a day job, Now, if we could get just another 5,000 subs. No, no. Anyway, so work was fun. But beyond that, I was listening to the Once We Were Spaceman podcast this morning with Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk, which is a fun podcast. I think I talked about it a little bit the other day. And if you're any sort of fan of Firefly or any of the work that those two actors have done, it's an excellent podcast and definitely worth your time. So I was listening to that podcast this morning, and I get to work, and I like to put on streams or YouTube videos or whatever when I get to work to listen to while I'm working. Okay, because it's nice to just throw stuff on in the background like that. And a new episode of Dropping Names with Brent and Johnny came on. Now, the Brent and Johnny that this referenced was, in fact, Jonathan Frakes and Brent Spiner of Star Trek The Next Generation fame. Frakes, of course, played Riker. Spiner played Data. You know, all that fun. And who were their guests? Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk. That's right. Their podcast, which is what caught my eye when I first pulled up YouTube this morning, was the name of their episode is Once We Were All Spacemen. And it's like, wait a minute, I was just listening to that podcast. But no, it was Frakes and Spiner speaking with Fillion and Tudyk, and it was all sorts of fun and exciting. Surprisingly little talk of Star Trek and Firefly. I mean, they tried to bring up Firefly once, went on for about a sentence before the conversation just sort of meandered off in another direction, which was perfectly fine. Oh, I am running out of space. Let's pull out a shulker box or two. You know, should I actually like be organized or something? Like put all that Prismarine in one box and all of the other Prismarine in another box? That seems like logic and stuff, and I'm not sure that's okay here. But I guess just this once we can use logic and organization and do things. Okay. It's fine. But anyway, yeah, so I was listening to that podcast, and it was all sorts of fun, and I highly recommend it if you're a fan of any of those actors. They had some fun conversations about fandom and cons and just random weirdness and, you know, all sorts of good stuff. So come for Brent Spiner's Patrick Stewart impression. Stay for his Ian McKellen impression. Just saying. Oh, you know, if I'm going to craft up shulker boxes, I should probably have the shells, huh? All right. So, let's see now. Carrot. All right, so that one I'll put in the other things. This one I'll put in the Prismarine. I had one that was holding gravel, so that'll go in there. I'm almost certainly going to need more stuff of some sort or other. Okay, maybe I'll have one for sea lanterns, but I might just stick those in with the dark Prismarine. Okay, you know, just we'll see how this goes. All right, so go turn off the lights, as they say in the song. If you're not sure which song it is, I would maybe try Nelly Furtado, Turn Out the Lights, and just see if that's the one that reaches out for you today. But yeah, so that was fun and exciting. My worlds collided hard at that point, and I loved it. Let's see. Other things going on. I think I talked about it a little bit on the stream yesterday, but the Music Free Gaming website has a new coat of paint, so that's fun. There are a couple of places I think I need to figure out something weird with the CSS. It's like Fourth Wall has something weird going on, and I need to figure out what the heck is happening there. But otherwise, it looks a little bit better than it did before, which is a plus. Big fan of making things better when I can. Okay. Speaking of better things, can we talk about social media for a minute? Or creator media really is what it is? Okay, that goes there, that goes there, goes there. Yeah, as I said, we'll throw the sea lanterns in there too. All right, so here's the thing, okay? And I'm not entirely sure how much of the thing is actually makes sense, but here it is. I do not like most creator media, okay? Whether it's in the form of X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, any of that stuff. I'm not really a fan of most of it, okay? You know, Instagram is the one I probably use the most, but mostly because there are webcomics that are posted there that I like that are not posted anywhere else handy. But trying to figure out all of the social media game, it's like, oh, I want to post here and there, and how do you deal with, you know, finding an audience on, let's say, Instagram, and getting them to want to come to watch the streams on YouTube or Twitch or whatever, right? Sadly, that's not easy. Okay, it's a right pain in the neck, because there's a certain reality here that it's actually similar to Newton's third law of motion, I think it is. That or one of his laws of motion, I don't know. But the idea is that an object at rest tends to stay at rest. And the idea is that a person that is on a creator media platform is not really going to want to go to another creator media platform, right? So if I've got somebody who's following me and you know, likes the clips and stuff I post on TikTok, they are highly, highly unlikely to make the jump over to YouTube or Twitch to watch streams, okay? It's just a reality, okay? I was talking with a couple of other YouTubers the other day, and we all had sort of the same experience. We may get views. We may get a lot of views, potentially, on these different platforms. But I think I'll loop back to that side. But those views on those platforms do not translate to video views or viewers on streams and stuff like that. I was going to say it's weird, but it actually kind of makes sense, because those platforms are designed to keep you on the platform. And that sounds more diabolical than it actually is, right? The idea is like, hey, you're on the platform. You're here watching this clip. You might laugh horrifically at that clip, or horrendously, or joyously, or some other adverb or something at clips. I don't know how you laugh. You know, maybe you do laugh horrifically and joyously at the same time. And that is great. I hope that you have a wonderful and joyous reason to laugh every day. But however you laugh, and however all those people laugh on those platforms, they don't leave those platforms, right? It takes a lot to get somebody to say, you know what, this person was really funny here, and they say they're over somewhere else. Let me go somewhere else. And that's just not how those systems are designed. And so the momentum says that those viewers will stay on those platforms and not go anywhere else. Okay, so what does this have to do with anything? All right, well, because this is all about me, because, you know, it's my stream and therefore, haha, take that. Oh, speaking of taking things, I should probably put stuff away into the shulker boxes up here, which are probably going to have to move. Anyway, Prismarine, what am I yakking about? I'm talking about myself, like I always do, because I'm the most interesting thing ever. No, so what I was wondering is if we look at social media or creator media, as I generally prefer to think about it, it's like, okay, if somebody sees something they think is funny, like they see one of my clips on TikTok or something, the odds are extremely low. Not quite lottery ticket low, but really low that they're actually going to jump over to YouTube or to Twitch or something and watch things, okay? Now, Snoopers, you are awesome and amazing. Also, thank you for cleaning out the rest of the sand and gravel and stuff. I really appreciate that. That was great. But why is it a problem then if people laugh maniacally at my clips on you know, TikTok or whatever, and they're not coming to stream? Well, the reason I'm posting all of that stuff over there is because I want people to come to the streams. Because this is where the fun happens, right? I mean, where else could we talk about my horrific sense of direction or my inability to read things or stand on flat surfaces without falling off, right? So I end up in sort of this existential, well, maybe that's a little weird, but this really weird problem then is like, hey, if they're not going to come over to chase down my streams when they find something really funny that they like on these other creator media sites, why am I posting to those creator media sites? Right? And I suppose there are lots of good arguments of like, okay, maybe one will. Okay, that's certainly a possibility. Because, you know, advertise where people are, not where they're not. And they're not in my stream, so try to find them where they are, and maybe they're on TikTok. I don't know. But again, that whole momentum thing I was talking about, they're not going to leave TikTok and go follow me on YouTube. It's just not how creator media works. So yeah, it's one of those weird issues that I just don't. Okay, I do have an empty shulker, which is great. Yeah, it's just one of those weird things I'm trying to figure out. Is like, if I want to bring more people into my streams, which I do because I like having people to chat with while I'm streaming. If my streams were 10 seconds long, that's it, you know. That's the solution. I just need shorter streams. Now it's, hi, welcome to Music Free Gaming. Hey, like and subscribe. See you next time. Strangely enough, I don't think that would bring in the viewers. I don't know. I'm just weird like that, but... And admittedly, my social media strategy is not working so far, so... I don't know. Maybe that's the way to go. Yeah, it's the people's attention span. Yeah, probably right there. So yeah, I'm I've been thinking about this a little bit because I've been spamming clips all over the place, and yes, I have had a couple of viewers over the years who did come over from one of those platforms, but it was seriously like a handful, and it was years ago. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Can you click a clip and go to the YouTube video? So on YouTube, yes. On the other platforms, no. Like Instagram, and right now I'm not posting on Instagram because they won't let me. They have, for some reason, decided that even though I can post a video sort of by hand on Instagram, a vertical clip, a 9:16 clip, if I do it by hand, it kind of lets me through. If I try to do it in bulk or schedule it or something, that doesn't happen. So awesome, I guess. Okay. So anyway, Instagram is sort of a dud at the moment. I am posting to Facebook because obviously Facebook is the place that everybody goes for things, but bulk uploading to Facebook is easy enough that it's not that big a deal. Used to be able to do it to Instagram too, but then they changed things. Their app got stupid. I don't know. Yeah, Facebook. There is a music-free gaming page on Facebook. I don't remember what it is. It's probably facebook.com/musicfreegaming because I'm creative like that. Let's, brand recognition and unity and whatever else. I do like that this beacon does reach this entire area, I post the same clips there that I post everywhere else. So, hope that one is full. So if you like watching somewhere else, cool. But, yeah, I set up the Facebook page, shoot, a zillion years ago. That was, heck, before TikTok existed. I think before Reels was a thing. Might have been before Instagram was a thing, now that I think about it. So, to answer, have I recently started using Facebook again? Only in the same way I use every other creator media site, in that I'm basically a write-only Facebook user. I post to Facebook, and that's it. I don't use it personally, right? I don't go up there and see what's happening with all the people I didn't like or that didn't like me in high school and all of that stuff. That's not a thing. But Facebook's Meta's business tools make it really easy to post there, so I've been posting there. Oh, you started using it again, so cool. See, this is what happens when I only read the first 4 words of a sentence. Because reading comprehension is right up there with my ability to jump over small gaps. I.e. not, so, that's a thing. Yeah, I keep trying every once in a while to jump into see if there's a creator platform that I like. And so far, all of them were basically like, yeah, I don't want to use this. The closest I got to anything like that was Nostr. I liked Nostr. I liked that it wasn't connected to anything. There's no company. It's a protocol. It's not a platform. But Nostr is really, really hard to use. And it was really hard to find anybody worth following. Because unless you're a Bitcoin bro or something, wasn't really a lot of interesting stuff happening on the, well, I was going to say the platform, but it's a protocol, and use whatever app you want to that can talk to it. My wife, of course, is all about Facebook. She does all the Facebooking. But Facebook, I don't know, it ticked me off because it's like, I'm trying to follow what's happening with my sisters. And, you know, they've got, a couple of them have kids, and I want to see what's happening with their kids and their families. And instead, what Facebook shows me is not them and random stuff that I don't follow. So it's like, you know, Facebook's not really a thing. Which is why for social media, I prefer something like Discord. And Nostr was nice in some ways too, because it doesn't have an algorithm. So you just get everything as it's fed to you. And I guess Blue Sky does that too, but Blue Sky is such a wretched hive of hatred and groupthink that I have zero desire to really be there. Made a decision to start connecting with people again. Okay. So every now and then you reach out to somebody to see how they're doing. Nice. It is nice to sort of rekindle those connections. I'll give you that. Sometimes that can be fun. There was something, it was weird. It was a few years ago. It was my birthday. So, of course, Facebook tells everybody, hey, it's this guy's birthday. Go spam his wall or something. And then they throw spam at my house, and that's not nearly as much fun as it sounds, especially when they don't take it out of the can, because then it dents things and breaks stuff. And when they do take it out of the can, then it just makes a splotchy mess everywhere and kind of smells funky. So yeah, not typically my favorite thing. But I got a message from actually this girl I had dated, which is always an interesting thing to have happen. And yeah, she was saying, you know, I remember something was tickling my memory that something was happening on this day. It was before she logged into Facebook. So what the heck is it? And then she realized, oh yeah, it was my birthday. And so we chatted a little bit, and then I haven't spoken to her since. But yeah, it's like, okay, let's try it with the pickaxe and not the carrot. Thank you. Yeah, sounds sketchy. I mean, it was fine. So we chatted for a couple minutes, and I actually was talking about her a little bit on the stream on Thursday. Because she was the girl I was dating just before. She was the girl I was dating when I met my wife. And that I made all sorts of questionable relationship choices dealing with. And I'm not proud or happy with many of those choices, but I mean, I'm happy with my choice of wife. I love my wife. She is awesome. And you got to see her actually and stuff in the podcast this week, which was great. We were actually talking about that a little bit today too, about recording some more of those. So that'll be fun. But yeah, she's cool. Yeah, I think she is too. That's partly why I married her, you know. That, and she laughed at my jokes. Which, to be fair, was something that didn't happen as often as I was, as I liked when I was in school. But, anyway, so, there are a few people, like, the guy who was my best man at my wedding, I don't know that I've actually really spoken to much since my wedding. Because we both went to different colleges, and this was back before free long-distance phone calls and cell phones, and it was mostly actually even before email. was popular at least. And so we kind of lost track. Okay. Yeah, we're definitely making progress on this thing. But yeah, so it's going to be cool. And speaking of the podcasts and my wife, we're right now kind of shooting for doing basically monthly. The two of us recording together. I'm still going to record every week, but yeah, we'll do one. About every month. You lost track of a college friend who found out, oh, he died a few years ago. Oh, that sucks to find out. Yeah, right. Hence the efforts to keep up with people. That makes sense. Yeah, my wife keeps in touch with a few of the people we knew from college. Most of them were really her friends more than mine. Okay. I should actually probably take down those sea lanterns, huh? But yeah, and to be fair, I didn't really have friends in high school. And I didn't really have that many friends in college when it comes down to it. I had a hard time making friends. It's gotten better as I've gotten older, but turns out friendship tends to require you to want to actually make an effort, and I didn't. But yeah, I tend to be bad at relationships and stuff, you know. Keeping in touch with people, you know, all the stuff that goes into, you know, keeping a relationship going. Yeah, I tend to be bad at that. It's easy with my wife because it turns out we live in the same house, so it's really easy to stay in touch. But for other people, it's hard. In fact, heck, even my sisters, who I like to talk to, man, we'll go months without talking to each other. So yeah, it's. Now, to be fair, I'm not the only one in that relationship. They don't call me either. So, you know, it's a family problem. Get the sea lanterns. Yeah. The other issue I had is mostly when I was in college, at least as far as like friends and stuff. Like my roommates, we didn't really have anything in common other than the fact we shared a room. So, you know, there was that. And honestly, for a lot of college, I was just too busy. You know, between school and then later work and stuff like that, I just didn't make an effort. Plus, I'd met my wife, and I was spending just about every waking moment and many of the non-waking moments with her. So, you know, seems like a thing to be doing. Okay, these arches are a pain. But yeah, anyway, so I've been wondering, and that's what got me onto the whole social/creator media question is, what do I do to, you know, promote in a healthy way, you know, my streams and what I'm doing. And you know, I was playing around with threads a little bit, but the reality is I don't know what I want to post on threads. You know, it's just every once in a while, like if I put out an actual video, I'll post something, you know. But I much prefer the actual social media of something like Discord. where we can sit and chat about something, or, you know. Oh, and my inventory is just about full. Cool. Where, oh, where did I leave the shulkers? Where, oh, where can they be? There they are. Okay, so that's Dark Prismarine and Sea Lanterns. You only recently realized that threads existed. Yeah, you know. And threads spun up really fast. When it showed up. Oh, it's this one. When Elon Musk bought Twitter, and you know, there was the big hue and cry and panic, and the world was ending, and all this stuff that, heaven forbid, you know, Elon Musk on Twitter. You saw a bunch of stuff happen, right? You saw Meta through Instagram threw up threads, kind of like a cat throwing up a hairball. It just a bunch of hacking and gross sounds, and then you had threads, and you know that was a thing. And Blue Sky had existed kind of, but it was in a invite only closed beta, and eventually they sort of showed up, but without quite as much hacking and coughing, I think, as Instagram. But yeah, it was a thing, and I don't know. They all suffer from the same problem. And that problem is I don't want to be on them. No, the problem is I don't think anybody else wants to be on them either, right? And it's not that, yes, all of the millions of people that are there, it's just like, they're not there because they want to be social. They're there because, I don't know, they're there for something else. And it's a something else that I don't know that I'm like down for, you know? Said a lot of those sites become basically bastions of groupthink. Blue Sky is particularly bad about it, especially if you dip into some of the political stuff. Twitter is or X, I guess, is a bit better, but even then, it's easy to fall into you know, echo chambers of various sorts. I want to light this up so things don't come to eat my face. And yeah, and said looking at threads, it's all the same problem. It's like they reward things that are, well, they reward engagement, right? It's all about the views, likes, and you know, whatever else is going on, right? And so the hottest takes tend to get amplified, and it just becomes a game of who can have the hottest take and make the most noise and, you know, get the most attention. And I don't think that leads to a good environment to be in. And I think we're seeing that. The number of people I see on these different platforms, or talking like in Discord and stuff, who talk about how much they hate using, you know, X or Threads or whatever else, but they still kind of think they have to. Yeah, maybe I should just leave a ender chest out here. I keep pulling it out. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's funky. All right, I need to change pickaxes here because my Silk Touch one has seen better days. Okay, I mean, who hasn't really? But my Silk Touch pickaxe definitely has. Yeah. So So yeah, so Stoopers is saying threads seem kind of pointless. I kind of agree. In the same way I think X and Blue Sky are pointless. Right? I just don't, I'm not sure I see the value. The problem is, okay, at least from my perspective as a content creator, in my personal life, I could easily see not being on them. Okay. Instagram, I am on and actively use because, as I said earlier, there are a number of webcomics that I like to read, and that's how they publish, right? They don't have like an RSS feed or anything like that. Okay. So that's fine. I'll follow them on Instagram. But dang, it's just like, why? What benefit is it? And instead I hear people whose jobs it is almost to be on social media. Like, there's a podcast I listen to called Phase Hero, and it's a number of entertainment media journalists and commentators like Brandon Davis and Jamie Jirac and Jenna Anderson and stuff. And they have a focus, as you might expect from the name, on geeky stuff. They like to talk Marvel and DC. They talk about Star Wars, right? All the movies that I'm totally down for, right? Which is why I listen to the podcast. But the number of times I hear any one of them talk about how they're trying to stay off social media, as they say, it's at least every episode. At least one of them is making that statement. And that's kind of their job, because that's where directors are posting things and actors are posting other things, and right, all of this stuff. It's like, great. So if I want to be, I don't know, promoting my streams, right? Why would I want to promote them on platforms that people are actively trying to get off of or to use less, right? And that's not even counting the weird situations in in like Australia or places where they're putting in age verification and all sorts of other weird stuff, right? So people are sort of, I don't know, I'm going to say abandoning ship, but definitely rethinking their life choices. And yeah, I don't quite know. Because the one thing that all of these sites do, at least in theory, mildly well, is like, hey, if I want to know what's happening with my favorite actor, I could potentially be following them on their socials, and then I can learn all about, whatever they had for lunch that day. Right? But I don't know. It's just weird. It doesn't take time to post to other places. Why not? Yeah, right. And that's what we started with talking about. It's like, feel like watching a stream, right? You pull up Twitch. Well, what started the conversation was how difficult it is to get people from someplace like TikTok or Facebook over to YouTube or Twitch, right? It's like, yes, they may see the clips I post and they may laugh in that weird way that makes you wonder if they're having a heart attack or a stroke, or maybe they just can't breathe, right? You know, that type of laugh. And even if I get them laughing that way, the odds of them jumping over to watch streams or something, or follow me on Twitch or subscribe on YouTube or anything like that, is vanishingly small. So yeah, it is a weird problem. I don't have an answer to it. I don't want to be sitting here like whining about it. I'm just trying to figure out, as I'm sort of just thinking out loud, of what the heck, right? I think maybe I don't want to get struck by lightning. Let's go to sleep. There's a bed up here somewhere. There it is. Okay, there we go. Sleeping, sleeping. So, yeah, anyway, it's just got a reminder there's an info meeting at school in 45 minutes. That's probably important. I mean, informational meetings, it's not like they could be emails or something. That would be... You're still working on dinner. Yeah. Oh, it was funny. I came home from work today. And usually that's the sign for my wife to say, "Oh, crud, I forgot to start dinner." No, it was today. She was like, "Okay, I need to start dinner." Turns out, what we had planned, we didn't have the stuff for. Okay, we had planned this. I think it's. Oh, I need Silk Touch for these things. On the menu, it's called like Country Skillet Supper. It's like a homemade hamburger helper stroganoff type flavor with zucchini. It's relatively tasty. I don't like zucchini much, but it's okay in this. But then she was looking in the fridge or the freezer and realized we didn't have ground beef. We had some ground turkey, but she wasn't at all excited about that, which, you know, I can't blame her. I had the ground turkey because it's really good in as a healthier option in spaghetti bolognese or what did I put it in the other day? Chili mac. I just used it to replace ground beef and chili mac, which I make with whole wheat pasta and stuff because theoretically it's better for the old heart and stuff. But yeah, so instead we had chicken strips and tater tots, which isn't necessarily the best thing in the world for the heart physically, but it's great for the heart metaphorically. So I was down. There was a point to that story, but I don't remember what it was. I wasn't listening at the beginning of it, so, you know, whatever. But, oh, I am, look at all the blocks I'm not picking up. I should do something about that. Okay, dark prismarine. Look, I'm being organized. People said it couldn't be done, yet here it is. Okay, I guess this is the next box of those things. I mean, I might as well pick all this stuff up. We're going to get a lot of prismarine out of this happy little dealy bob here. Okay, I also need to be... I don't think I have to be too careful because I think underneath the... like this floor is the bottom of the structure, and I don't think guardians will spawn in the water, like right down there. Okay. Yeah, I don't think they will. So don't need to worry about that, which is good because we're going to be dealing with that later. Maybe not today, but probably on Tuesday. Because I need to figure out how the heck I want this guardian farm to work. And I'm thinking I want it to be kind of fun. Wrong pickaxe, darn it. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking something that's sort of fun. Sure, at least reasonably efficient, but fun. Should be high on the list. And I have some vague ideas, but that's all they are at the moment. Oh, darn it. Keep breaking the sea lanterns with the wrong pickaxe. I mean, once this is done, I'm going to set up auto crafting for sea lanterns and then the prismarine blocks because I like all the things. I think what I might do, the one problem I've got is that I'd like to auto craft the dark prismarine. I don't know if I'm going to actually get squid ink. Right, I don't know if I'm going to get the ink for the dye to mix with the dark prismarine. Okay, which is a little bit unfortunate, but, you know, that's fine. Oh, dinner. That's what I was talking about. It was dinner. And it was delicious. Yeah. We do try to eat healthy most of the time, but sometimes it's like, you know what? Forget the healthy. We are just doing something else today. At least we didn't fry the stuff. We baked it in the oven, so at least it was... We didn't have that concern, right? That totally justifies it. It's not fried, therefore it's healthy, right? I think that's should be on the label. Oh, speaking of things that are mildly healthy, there was a really big sale at the store here today. We shop at a Kroger chain, and excuse me, they had what was it? One of the theoretically healthy TV dinner brands on sale. Smart Ones, maybe something like that. Hashtag not sponsored, but if they want to send me free food, I will eat it. But they've got a line of microwavable meals that are, I don't know, they're like steamed, which is weird. So you get them, and then how do they work? They've got a bowl at the bottom that has the sauce in it. So what I had yesterday, I think it was a chicken Alfredo with broccoli, which is really tasty. So they had the Alfredo sauce cooking at the bottom, which then would steam, and then cook everything on the top, which in this case was pasta and chicken and broccoli and stuff, right? Because that's what it said on the label. If it was like, you know, roast beef and radishes or something, I'd have been really disappointed because I don't like radishes, and I was sort of wanting chicken. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's it. Oh, hi. Look, it's wet down here. I should... Anyway, do the thing. So, do the thing where I keep talking and stuff. So, anyway, so I cooked this thing up, expecting and getting somewhat bland Alfredo. But, you know, the chicken was fine, the pasta was fine. The broccoli was crisp, was crunchy. Not like in a, you've deep fried it with bread stuff, but like, hey, I've steamed this and it's got some firmness. It's not like mushy broccoli. It's not like that broccoli mush that you get out of a frozen meal or something like that, that if you squeeze it a little bit, it just sort of dissolves into broccoli flavored slime, right? That's not fun at all. This was actually really tasty broccoli. I don't know that I've ever had that in any sort of frozen meal before. I was suitably impressed. Okay, now regular price, these things are probably more expensive than I'd want to spend on a TV dinner, but they were on sale for like $2. So it's like, all right, I will, for $2, I will absolutely get some. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have all sorts of fun in this area, aren't we? You know, it'd be really cool though, not having monsters spawn on these platforms. Okay. I know. I say that a lot, but it's true. I really don't want monsters spawning up here. Okay. Yeah, because I think I want to take out this. Well, I just meant to gesture, but, you know, I think I do want to just take out that layer of stuff. Okay, actually, this one of these. Yeah, that one. All right. Yeah, we're just going to end up with lots of stuff in the water, I suppose. All right. Well, since tearing it out while swimming kind of sucks, we're just going to do it this way. Anyway, so yeah, I was suitably impressed. It was, like I said, I think it was a Smart Ones steamer Dealy Bob. Yeah. Because I always get a little wary when I get something with broccoli in it. Because I don't know about you. Broccoli paste is not high on my list of things to eat. Much less broccoli slime. So, you know, again, if that's something you like to do, you know, more power to you. But all right, yeah, I'm just gonna kind of just run around this way because it'll be fun. Yeah, I'm gonna put in a different floor here. I don't know what the floor is going to be. Heck, it may end up being Prismarine again. I don't know. But for now, it's not going to be this. Okay. I don't know what it's going to be, but this isn't it. Okay. Yep. Got so much to dig up here. But this is why I brought the haste beacon, because I intend to be hasty. That's just all there is to it. Oh, but and speaking of things that were boring and obnoxious, it's that time of year again when we have to go through our annual, you know, anti-harassment Title IX training at work. So that's boring. We've been using the same program for a few years, so I've been watching the same videos of, hey, let's watch what happens when these people set up a conference or something. It's like, yeah, I'm getting to the point where I don't really care what happens to Nina and Dan and I don't know, James or whatever, who else ever happens to be there. Sorry, I'm done with those people. Can we find other people who are making improper life choices, please? I guess that if we did that, though, I'd actually have to pay attention, so maybe I should be careful what I wish for. Any case. So that was a thing. On the plus side, though, I did get to take part in a webinar that Google put on about using Notebook LM in higher education. And man, that was interesting. They had some people from NYU talking a little bit about how they used it or how their students were using it. And that was really interesting. That's because Notebook LM, it doesn't work the same as your as just something like ChatGPT or even Gemini out of the box. It's like, oh, hang on, let me do stuff. I can't think and talk at the same time. Yep, because thinking and talking, obviously mutually exclusive. Sorry, that's just how this goes. Over here. So anyway, what they were talking about, Notebook LM, if you've never heard of it, it is a large language model product powered by Google Gemini. And what it does, oh yeah, gotta go. Well, you could be a stay-at-home mom in that you stay at home from school activities. You know, this whole being involved in your kids' lives, what the heck, man? Where's the fun in that? Okay, oh, stream joke. What do computers and air conditioners have in common? They both become useless when you open Windows. Okay, as a Linux fan, I appreciate that. I'm currently playing Minecraft on Linux, so, you know, got that going. The other thing that they both have in common is they stop working if you let the smoke out. See, I am at least jokingly convinced that computers run on smoke, and if you let the smoke out, they don't work anymore. And, you know, there's nothing incorrect about that statement. If you let the smoke out, computers stop working. Anyway. But yeah, so anyway, what Notebook LM does, which makes it somewhat unique, is that it's designed, rather than being a conversation with the, you know, the random language model, it instead focuses on the whatever documents you upload to it. Okay. And the documents are not fed back into the model, so you don't have to worry about them training on your data or anything like that, which is nice. Especially in higher ed, where you have some regulatory issues to deal with. But it basically allows you to upload your whatever it is you're wanting to deal with, or reference websites or something like that. You know, both of those types of things are there. And then only do all of your fun language queries against that data. So, for example, if you upload, I don't know, the complete works of Shakespeare, which they have as a demo workbook if you want to play with it, you could then start having conversations with it about the works of Shakespeare. It's like, okay, let's talk about the similarities and relationships between, you know, that you see in Romeo and Juliet and, and A Midsummer Night's Dream, for example, or, darn it, what's the one? They made it in the movie Kiss Me, Kate. Darn, I don't remember. There was a movie, it starred Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor. Whatever it was. I'm sure it's only mildly important. So yeah, it's just so you could do that, and it won't start trying to pull in stuff from anywhere else, right? Which makes it really handy if you're doing research or trying to work with specific data, and not just all of the data everywhere. You know, speaking of callbacks to Brent Spiner, you know, you can just instead say, no, we're going to talk about this and only this, and let's see what we got going on. And it's kind of a cool, actually, it's a really cool product. It also then allows you to put together automated slide decks to help summarize things, flashcards or quizzes or things like that to help study and do stuff like that, right? Which makes it really handy in a higher ed type environment. It's not what I was looking for. So, yeah. Oh, hey, I already have an empty shulker box. Let's put this one here. Yep. So, anyway, that was interesting. And NYU, they've been using Notebook LM for a long time. And it was really interesting to hear them talk about the impacts it's had on their campuses across the state. So I think there's some interesting stuff. Now I'm an AI enthusiast. I love the potential for the technology. I think there's some really great things that it can do. There's some really sketchy things that it can do too. Let's not be silly. But might as well grab these magma blocks while I'm here. It's not like I don't have half a shulker box full of them already, but still, waste not, want not, as they say. We're almost done, y'all. Then we can start thinking about what the farm is going to look like. But yeah, the problem I have is I get really excited about things like, oh, here's all the stuff you can do with agents, right? And I've done some cool things using Gemini's deep think mode. And I think ChatGPT has something similar that you can trigger. My big example was that I needed, or I like to meal prep, okay? I like to cook something up over the weekend and then have it for leftovers for lunch throughout the week. So that I get maybe 4 or 5 meals. So when I come home from work at lunch, I don't have to worry about it. I've got something that's reasonably healthy, which was important to me. And because cooking fast often means cooking badly, or at least unhealthily, okay? And so, great. What can I do? So what tends to work well for me are things like crockpot meals, okay? Because they make a lot, they're easy to make, and you can do good stuff with them. Problem is, I don't like soup, okay? I'm not a fan of soup in general. Sometimes, sure, I'm thrilled to have a little bit of a fajita soup or something, right? But, and except for like chili, which is more of a stew, and I love a good chili. Yeah, I tend to avoid soups in general. So I went out and asked Gemini to do a bunch of research for me, and it was really cool. I asked it, says, okay, give me 10 heart-healthy crockpot meals with diverse flavors, right? So, because I have a tendency when I cook to, everything sort of ends up tasting vaguely Mexican. Okay. Because I love Mexican spices, but it's real easy to get sick of that flavor if that's all you're eating, right? And that's true of just about any flavor, okay? Nothing specific with Mexican food, which is, again, awesome. Okay, yep, gonna need another shulker box. Okay, so, but I had a couple of other requirements, okay? Yes, they had to be heart healthy. They had to be not soup. That did not have seafood because I don't like seafood. So that rules out a handful of other things, okay? It's probably, I love Cajun, but so much Cajun isn't usually ends up being made with shrimp or crawfish or other stuff like that, which is, again, not stuff I like. Now, you can make it with chicken and other things, which I do, but still, Cajun, while it's delicious and amazing on its own, it is a lot of the same spices you get in Mexican. Okay. Obviously, it's not the same. There are some kind of important differences, but it's still spiced with chilies, right? Tabasco sauce, right? Is big in Cajun. So I wanted things that were not necessarily spicy. So I'm asking Gemini, it's like, okay, let's jump into deep research mode and let's find this stuff. And then let's add a couple of other requirements to it. I live in a rural area, so I don't have access to like big foreign food shops, right? So if I need Asian spices, I better be able to get them at the local city market or Walmart, okay? City market, again, being a Kroger brand. Because that's what I've got here, okay? And so that's what I asked Gemini to go look for. And it did. It went out. It gave me 10 recipes. Actually gave me 10 ideas for recipes. I had to yell at it and say, hey, I need the actual recipes, please. Thank you. Which it then happily provided. But yeah, that was really cool. Because it went out and said, yep, you need these spices. It checked the websites for Walmart and City Market. Said, yep, these are usually available here. I think I even had it check the City Market and Walmart stores in my zip code. Which I think I don't know if it actually ended up being that specific or not, but it was great. And so I've got these list of great recipes to try. I've got one I'm looking forward to try, but it's a little bit more of a spring and summer type dish. It's sort of an apricot chicken that sounds really tasty. It's an African, like a North African recipe, I think. So I'm really intrigued and excited to give that one a shot. So yeah, it's just one of those things like, oh yeah, this was cool. I'm happy. Speaking of being happy with things, we're done here. Obviously the beacon is still there. But we're done with this. This part of the project is done. I like it when I can actually finish things. Okay. Anyway, so I've done a number of different deep research type projects with Gemini, which is, again, oh, those are fish. Okay. Which has been really handy, having it be able to go out and do some of that research for me. It's like, hey, I need you to go do the thing. And it does the thing. Computers are really good at looking at large amounts of data, whether you like it or not. Or, something. All right. We have ourselves a Merry Little Christmas. Something like that, anyway. All right. Great. I need to go heal my tools and dry some sponges. So let's jump out into the nether. do have my... I don't have my hoe on me. Did I put it away? I must have. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Turns out if you're going to pick up a lot of sponges, you're going to need yourself a hoe. All right. Gotta love the hissing sizzle of sponges in the nether. All right. Okay, let's be sure I pick them all up. That would be a huge win. I think I picked them all up. Okay. Yeah. Said I think I ended up losing some sponges throughout the project, which kind of sucks, but it's all right. It's not like I was so desperate that I need an exact number of sponges, you know what I mean? All right, this portal right here happens to be the end portal. Right? Yep. It's nice to have a couple of different end portals out there. But this one's the one in the Badlands near my base, which is really handy. So, a sword on me? I do. How convenient. One of these days I'll get over here and actually make this walkway a little safer. Today is not that day. All right. Time to make with the choppy. Yeah. So this design is super simple, works really well, but it does take a moment to warm up. Okay, so yeah, so let's talk Guardian farms here for a minute. The idea is that we need Guardians to spawn in water in specific places and then get pushed around where they can drop down into a kill chamber. Okay? Great. So, the thing with the kill chamber, I've got a couple of potential ideas here. One is that I just always drop them down and let them poof onto maybe magma blocks, right? Something that I can drop them onto. If they survive the drop, they'll still burn up, right? And then I can get all of their happy drops. Okay, great. What could be really interesting is to be able to close that off so that they land and definitely survive, and then I can come at them with a looting sword, right, and collect even more drops, which would be better, right? Because more is better than less when it comes to collecting the dead bits of the things you slay here. So that's a possibility. Now, depending on how I set this up, right, there are some things I can do. Everything else is pretty well healed? Yeah, I think we're good. Okay. Other things we might be able to do is, let's just get rid of all of those ender pearls. Very carefully, I really don't want to toss my tridents down into the void. yeah, so other thoughts? I don't remember what they are, but I'm sure I was having them. Okay, yeah, so oh, the chickens have grown up. That's cool. Ah, wait. Well, let's sleep. So, if I drop them into a place where I can slay them, then it's great, but I need a place where I can then reach all of the ones to drop. And that means I need a somewhat smaller kill chamber. Okay. Definitely no more than a 3x3, and probably something closer to a 3x2. Right? Sort of like that area I was just slicing those Endermen in, though that one I think is a bit wider. So there's that to keep in mind, okay? The other thing to keep in mind, I might go down and just sponge up all that water too. Anyway, the other thing to keep in mind is that Guardians apparently spawn more often if they have, I think, I don't remember if it's specifically Prismarine or if it's just any blocks over their head, okay? The more blocks they have over their head, the or maybe, I guess the more is the wrong way, but if they've got blocks over their head, they'll spawn more often. The idea being the code wants the Guardians to spawn inside the monuments more often than outside, okay? So we really do want them spawning in some form of covered box. But if it's covered, how do I get the Guardians out? Okay. Now, I also want it to be kind of fun. So we've got some options. So one of the things I could do, for example, is I could have the Guardians basically spawn in a water wall, right, with soul sand at the bottom of it, because they'll spawn in any sort of water source block, whether it's got bubbles or not, which is great because then they'll spawn in there and they'll bubble up and we can push them all sorts of places. And I could put that here around the outside, which would be kind of cool. Could you imagine a window where, here, let's hop over here onto this beacon for a minute. Could you imagine a window where you look out at the ocean and you just have this curtain of Guardians just spawning and bubbling up and going someplace, right? That would look really cool. And I'm a big fan of things looking cool, so that's an idea. Another option would be to have canals like up here at the top, because they'll spawn all the way up to the water surface. And I could have them spawning in those canals and then going places, right? What I don't know is if Guardians will spawn and if they get pulled down by magma blocks. That would be interesting. Because, you know, if I reverse it, right, and they spawn up here, and then I have them pulled down, just have them pushed up, right? Magma blocks are slower, though. So I don't know if that's going to be a good thing, right? Okay, so we've got those types of things to think about. And then I would probably want to have them all come to a central area. Now, what you'll often see is maybe a couple of big spawning tubes anywhere inside this box. Anywhere, basically a block up from this sand, right? We'll put stone here for a moment. But remember we had all that, the prismarine we just dug out? pretty much anything at that level. In fact, do I have renderers, shapes? No. Let's see, there was a structure. Yeah, structures main toggle. Okay, this is the one. So, do I have, I don't know if I have, okay. Structures, main toggle. Let's, if I make this S, okay. All right, so see how this whole area sort of turned blue? Yeah, basically anything inside this box, right? All up to, looks like 1 block short of the surface. That's the structure that says, hey, this is an ocean monument area. Spawn guardians in here. Right, so if I build any sort of pool of water, we'll start getting guardians spawning in it. Okay, which is great. Okay. Then it's just a matter of getting the guardians where I want them to be. And I don't have the answer to that because I don't know where I want them to be. But that's the idea, is that we'll need some way of getting the guardians here. Now, like I said, it would be really cool to have them have some sort of boxes along the outside here that have the shoot the guardians up and over. But really, you want them to get to the killing chamber as fast as possible, and that means you want as short a trip as possible. Okay, so that then sort of begs the question, where the heck do I want them to die? Because that really is the question that I have to answer here, is where do I want them to die? And I don't have to build it in the middle of this area, okay? I can build it anywhere in this box, okay? Anywhere in this entire box, I can build the bubble columns and the kill areas and all of that stuff, okay? That is just fine. Also, I'm going to have to get down here. We've just free camp for a minute. Trial chamber. I'm going to have to come down here and light up all of these. Right. I mean, just set up I can set up an AFK spot up in the sky so that only this area basically is loaded. Right. So only this area will have mobs, which is also another common trick, right? Because then I don't care what's happening down there, okay? Which is great. I like to not care about things. So, right, so how do we handle all of this? And that I don't know. But it also goes into the drop. So, let me take a look. Unfortunately, I didn't set up a browser for non-doxing stuff over on the machine that I'm capturing. So I'm just going to do a quick lookup off the thing here. Guardians have 30 health points. Okay, which means they're going to deal with a lot of... They're going to have to fall a long way. All right, so let me see. So searching up fall damage, they take half a block for every block, or they take 1 point of damage. That's half a heart. So Guardians have 30 points of damage. So they take 1 point of damage. They fall after the fall safe distance, which is like 3 blocks. I think so. They would have to fall 30 blocks or 33 blocks, something like that, in order to to splat. Okay. That's a lot of blocks. That is a lot of blocks. Where am I? So I'm down here. This is a Y38. This is Y61. Okay. So I'd have to dig down and drop them another. I mean, if I were to drop them from sea level, I'd have to dig down further. That's not likely. Instead, I would push them up. Right? So if my kill chamber was down here, right? So let's say I had a kill chamber right here. I'd have to take them all the way up to, this is at Y39. I'd have to take them all the way up to Y70, basically. And then drop them from up there. Actually, I'd probably have to take them up a little bit higher. And then if I wanted them to potentially live, I'd have to stop them before that. But okay, so that they're only falling the 30 blocks. So basically, it's a one-hit kill with a sword, right? Looting sword will hit them, and it'll be a one hit, and they should be fine. So maybe 32 blocks. Yeah, that makes sense. Drop the 32 blocks with a, and then I could pull out a thing and then they would land on that. Okay, so that's doable. I'd have to get some hopper minecarts, because I think what I'd want to do is have them drop onto magma blocks so that if perchance one of them survives, I could do something about it, right? I could pull them in and, not have to worry about it. All right. So the other thing I'd want to do is I'd want to be sure that I could hit them without them being able to see me, because I don't want them to laser me in the face. Okay. I know I'm weird like that. I don't like to get lasered in the face. So that's going to change the calculus here just a little bit. All right. Don't know how, but somehow. Okay, well, it's raining. That's fine. All right. All right, so what I'm going to do... Oh, this is deep down here. Okay. Sorry, let me turn on the... so that you can all see the gamma override. Got ourselves a nice little underwater cave action happening down here. Okay. We are in a lukewarm ocean, so I would actually have to light this up. Or fill it in. Or drain it. If I drain it, I have to light it up anyway. Because you can have drowned spawning in lukewarm ocean. It's not as common, but you can have that happen. And I would want that to not happen. Okay, so... well, that almost worked. Kind of, sort of, almost, but not quite worked. I was sort of hoping I could spam away with some sponges here and take out most of this water, but unfortunately... yeah, unfortunately not so much. Well... that's too bad. All right. So I'm going to have to do some other work on that. On the other hand, I could just place a floor down here too. So that's a possibility. But again, I do need to add some lights in places. Wow, that sponge was all that was holding back the tide. Okay, well, yeah. Sure. Yeah, that's absolutely what I needed. Okay. I drained some, but not nearly enough. All right, fine. I'll just place blocks and call it a day. All right, so where do I want this? Where do I want this bad boy? Do I want it in the middle? That's a question. I mean, I'd have to move the portal, but, you know, that's fine. Do I want to drop... Do I want to drop the Guardians in the middle? And I sort of think I do. It's an interesting question. What do I want to do? That's, honestly, this is the problem. I don't know what I want to do. I haven't thought this thing through. I'm making it up as I go. And that just means lots and lots of confusion and flopping around and mental not happenings and stuff. Okay? This is where we're at today. All right, so to make this happen, let's see. We are going to be doing the things that are great and awesome and exciting. Or something. There is something that is going to happen. It's going to be here and exciting. All right, so let's see. Oh, what is it? All right, so I guess that's the first question. Do I want to put this in the middle? And if I do, which is a perfectly valid approach to this, if I put it in the middle, then where are the Guardians going to come from? Okay, which, again, another perfectly valid question to be having here. Let's double check the structure. The structure stops. Yeah, it stops at this wall. Okay, this wall is outside wherever the Guardians are going to be. Okay, so if I want them to spawn, I have to be sure that the water is inside all of this. Okay. That's the magic that'll make this thing happen. Oops, that's the wrong one. That one. All right, so I think I am going to go ahead and put it in the middle. So let's hop up here, because this is where I put all of the blocks. Or Aki. Okay, no, that made sense and stuff. All right. Here, let's just put those sponges in there too, because I think I'm going to not use those for a while. Okay, we'll deal with the rest of that in a little bit. Yeah, sand and stuff. All right, I'm just going to take this whole pile of shulker boxes. Okay, just, can I get all of them here? Yes, okay. We are moving down here. Ooh, there are some things we could have some fun with this, but All right. Let's just drop a couple down here. I'm going to go get that barrel, and I just want to move a bunch of stuff over here. Okay. Like this crafting table can go away. This that can go in there. I want this barrel. Okay. And I'm going to take that bed with me too, but we'll move all this stuff down here first. All right, so barrel. Let's go ahead and load this guy up with all of these shulker boxes. Did I have one? Yeah, this one that didn't have quite as much sand in it. Yeah. Great, so this is going to go here. Okay, we've got some gravel. We've got some prismarine. All right. And actually, let's get some prismarine bricks as well. All right. And I think one thing I am going to eventually do, but I suppose I should know what this area is going to look like first, is I should eventually set up a nether portal. All right. So let's see now. I want to take some of this. Oh, actually, let's also pull out our handy dandy ender chest here. Put those shells away. And the chests. Okay, so let's see now. If I replace this floor with prismarine blocks, okay, we could maybe do that. This whole area is many blocks wide. Hang on, what are we at here? This is okay. This is 5326. 5326 to 5367. So that is 53, so going down. 26, 56. Is that right? Is that 56 blocks? Something like that. All right. Hang on. We're going to move this torch. All right. Let's figure this out. 48. All right. Let's just get ourselves some scaffolding here. Okay. Just give it a nice little bridge to go across. Okay. So I have 48. I had 48 scaffolding in my hand. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Yeah. 58. And it should be square. So that means half of this is going to be, what's that? 25 plus 4, 29 blocks will put us into the middle. Okay. All right. So 29 blocks. Now, again, because I don't trust my own counting skills, we're going to let Minecraft count this out for me. 29 blocks. Also, I would kind of like to not leave this scaffolding here. All right. 29 blocks. Now, this is an even number, which is a thing, but that's fine. Okay. So that puts the center right about there. Okay. So center goes there. And then let's see where we're at on the other side. Let's get some more scaffolding here just to lay some stuff out. I need to color code these boxes. All right. 29 blocks. Let's go from this side. Oh, I should... If I'm going to be coming through here. Yeah, let's go ahead. Go ahead and just give my scaffolding a bridge. Okay, close enough. Okay, so the center is basically going to be here. I think. Let me get some more scaffolding. I know what I'm doing, said the man who knew not what he was doing. Oh, I'm gonna need some more blocks. Well, I've got prismarine. It breaks nicely. I just want to be sure that this doesn't... Oh, let's get some regular prismarine instead of the bricks. Not that I care about the color, I just want something different from the bricks. Okay. Okay, so that's coming into that side. All right. Woohoo! All right, so 29. Okay. 29. Yep. So our center is actually like right here. Though probably... Stop that. Fine. Okay. So we're coming 29 blocks over this way. This way. Okay, so actually, our center would be basically... It's these two blocks. That's 29. The other 29 would come here. Okay. So that is the center of our happy little grid here. Okay. Wonderful. All right. And that... Okay, let's try this again. This time with accuracy, precision. Accuracy and precision. All right. All right. Great. All right, so this little guy here, if I'm going to do this in the center, which I think I'm going to, because I think that'll be fun, that's going to be our kill chamber. All right, now obviously there's a lot of water here that needs to not be here. I could use the same technique I did when I drained the thing to clean out the water, which I probably should have done in the first place. You know, get some gravel or anything else, section this off into areas that it's easier to control the water with. Okay. So if I make this that I'm standing on the floor, okay, which seems like a reasonable thing to do. I would want them to drop here. Now, if I'm going to be swinging at them, if I would want them to land... Ooh, this could be interesting. Hang on. I put all of my boxes, my chests away. Let's grab a couple of chests. I don't know if this actually is what I want to do. Actually, I know this isn't what I want to do, but I was just thinking what I might do is if I had them land here, excuse me, with a trapdoor. I don't have a trapdoor, but, or any block really right here. Then I could swing at them this way without any fear of getting lasered in the face. Okay. Right. And that would be lovely. The problem with that is then I can't really auto kill them if I do that. Because you can't pull chests out of the way, right? If I want them to drop down the one extra block or something to die, I can't do that. I guess what I could do is just spit out lava, right? They could drop into lava, which then it would break their fall, unfortunately. But if they fell through the lava, that might help. They'd fall through the lava, catch on fire, and that would take off, I think, enough of the extra damage that they would land on this and then die. Okay. That's an idea. That is a interesting idea. And yeah, I could put trapdoors here to close this off if I wanted to. But the cool thing is, I can't put the hoppers under the chests. I mean, I can, but they won't pull through the chest because the hopper minecart will say, or the hopper will say, oh, I will just pull from the chest and not pull from all of the stuff up there. And that's not what I want. So that's unfortunate. Okay, so chests aren't going to happen. I like the idea, but the chests aren't going to happen. So, all right. So let's look at plan number, the next one. So what I need to do now is if I want them to drop here, maybe I drop them on slabs, right? That would be okay. I'd really want them to land on full blocks though, I think. And then I'd want to then pull those blocks out so they would then drop. The problem with that is I need to have hoppers or a hopper minecart or something, probably multiples of those things sitting under here, because we're going to get so many drops that hoppers aren't going to keep up. That's typically a problem you have when you really clean out a mob farm. So yeah, so we're going to have two choices. I can AFK up there and then they'll die automatically, or I can sit here and swing at them. But if I do that, again, I have all of these caves under here I have to light up. Okay. The trial chamber will help, but it's not everything I'm going to need. So, we've got lots of lighting up to do. Well, that's going to stink. I mean, though, the Guardians will still spawn. It just won't happen nearly as fast or as well. Okay, so I'd want them to stop here. Which means I need to put a block there that they can land on. Let's say, well, if I'm not going to be, let's see, if this is going to be ground level, they're going to be flopping around here, which seems like a reasonable thing for them to be doing. Then I think what I'm going to have to do. Ooh, I've got a. That's an interesting thought. Okay, anyway, so if I have them dropping onto here, then what I would have to do is pull these blocks out and have them land on something else. So probably what I want to do is actually, I mean, I could dig lower. That's not that big a deal, really. To put redstone and I think hopper minecarts. I think hopper minecarts are going to be the way to go here. So we'll deal with that. I'm just curious. 2, 3, 2, 3. Yeah, that is the center. Didn't look like the center, but that is in fact the center, because this strip right here was the it's where those arches were at the beginning of this thing. Okay, so now if I want them to die by my hand, and I want them to be a one-shot kill, that's great. They'll drop down here. If I make these magma blocks and don't drop them as far, they will still die on their own quickly, not immediately. They won't splat and die. They'll land, burn as they're touching it and die, but it'll be a little bit slower, but I'll have time to swing at them and do stuff. I'm also going to have to set up a regen beacon, I think, to survive this happy thing, because they'll have thorns and all sorts of that fun stuff, which is annoying to have to deal with. Okay, so this is great. All right. So somewhere in here, I happen to have a box that's got some scaffolding in it, but not what I'm looking for. That one. All right. Micro blocks. All right, so if I put magma blocks here, this is where they're going to drop. Okay? That seems reasonable. And yeah, if I have them drop 30 blocks onto this, they should land with, said, about 3 hit points. Because the first 2 blocks don't really count. So first 3 blocks don't count. So they'd be falling 27 blocks. So they would have 30 minus 27 health, which would be 3, which is a heart and a half, which is still 1 swipe of the sword. Okay. If I have them drop 31, it's still a couple of swipes, but I want them to have a chance here to really hit them after they've landed. So, okay, so that's a thing. We'll need to be sure that we've got some other stuff. So probably some slabs here. I do want to get close-ish, but again, I don't want them to see me, so we'd have to put in something like, oh, hang on, I've got it right here. Grab a stone cutter. All right, so what I would need here is, let's go grab some slabs. All right, something like that. I mean, they're not huge. I wonder if that's going to be big enough so that I can slash away at them without too many issues. I hope that's the plan, right? Is they end up landing there. I swipe with the sword. I should be able to reach them, I think. Yeah, and I think I'll be able to reach them without them making with the face lasers. On the other hand, I might kill them quickly enough, but I also need to be sure that the drops kind of stay in there. So if I get some hopper minecarts embedded in there, that'll soak up any drops that I need before I have to worry about them. So maybe that'll be okay. And they're big enough they won't jump out of this, so that'll be fine. That'll be totally fine. And if I'm up here, deep lukewarm ocean all the way up here. So I have to double check the spawn heights for squid, because it would be kind of handy if squid would drop in here too. Like I said, I would love to have some dyes as well. But squid aren't pushed around by water flows and bubble columns and things like that. So if they spawn there, they're not going to flow through the farm like the guardians would, which is annoying. But all right, whatever. As the kids say, whatevs, right? The kids do say that, right? That's totally what kids say. Probably. All right, so okay. Look at him on his kick channel. I don't care. All right. All right, so we'll see. So that's going to be the basic idea. Yeah, that should be the idea. We'll drop them down there. I should be able to reach, though I may have to readjust how I do this a little bit, but otherwise that should be fine. And then it's going to be a matter of getting the drop channel for all of our happy little squiddies. And what I want that to look like. Right? Because they'll need to flow in and drop down here. Okay, and then obviously we're going to have to remove the beacon. Okay, so if they're going to go up, let's see. We're going to scaffold up here. I want 30 blocks. All right, so scaffolding away. Oh, huh. We're going to hit the beacon. All right, time to take down the beacon, I guess. All right, that's fine. It served its use. Okay. All right, so we are about to have one fewer beacon in this area. Okay. Yeah, I'm digging it out this way so that I still have the haste effect for as long as I can get it. So we'll lose haste 2 here in a minute, but we'll still have haste 1. Which, well, not as good. It's still better than not having it at all, so, you know. So that's a thing. Alright, and obviously we'll be able to go pick up those iron blocks down there. Oh, man. Lots of digging, lots of prep work. But yeah, the ultimate question then is going to be, how do I get all of the guardians to spawn and spawn where I want them to be? Right, and again, they spawn best when they've got blocks above them. So that's going to be a thing. Okay. Beacons take roughly forever. All right. All right, time to clean up after myself here. I would rather not lose all of these iron bricks or iron blocks. They, I guess they aren't that critical, but again, I'd rather not lose them. If I have the choice of losing them or not, I'll take the not option. Okay. Well, that was reasonably quick and easy. All right. Go ahead and throw that in there. Nice beacon in a box. We'll need that again, but you know, at some later dates. Again, we'll want to have a regen beacon here as we farm all the stuff. All right. All right, all right, all right. So I was going to make that 30 blocks high. So let's go ahead and just start that countdown over again. Okay, 30. Perfect. Oh. And now it's less perfect, but with more scaffolding, so. Oh, and that iron. Again, I have an iron farm. It's not going to kill me if I lose it, but still. Okay, so the drop channel is going to have to start there. Okay, so let's see. One of these boxes, I think, had sea lanterns in it. Not that one. That one. I mean, I guess there were sea lanterns in that box, but... Alright. So 30 blocks from up there. Okay. So let's hop up top here. See if I can very carefully. There we go. All right, I don't know if this is what's going to be around the corners, but we're going to put them there anyway. I do need lights up here, so using the sea lanterns is kind of cool. All right, and I'm just going to leave the scaffolding here for now. But whatever I do, we are going to be bringing the glow squid here. Okay? That is going to be the master plan. And then they drop down onto that platform, which is a good thing. Right? Right. Okay. Cool. Well, that'll be lovely. We just need to build that out so it looks kind of cool. I don't know how we're going to do that, but it would be nice if it looked cool, right? Is it essential? Yeah. Yep, the farm will work better if it looks cool. That's just science, okay? Seriously. Redstone looks so much better when it's, and works so much better when it looks cool. It's totally a thing. Uh-huh. Absolutely. You can trust me on this. Okay. All right, so I need to figure out what this is going to look like, but that's the basic idea. They'll drop down here. I'll be able to slice up what's left. Those that survive will, in fact, get their fishy bits cooked off, and that's great. Okay? They don't need their fishy bits, and, you know, it's not like they're using them or anything, so. Where did I put the... Where did I put all the... Okay, there it is. I was going to say, I've lost my sponges. Okay. So yeah, I definitely need to start drying up some of this. Okay. Oh, come on. I've got a hoe. Got a hoe. I've got a hoe. Okay. Nice. So, actually, I think what I want to do is let's get some... No. Let's... I mean, that'll dig up fairly fast, but... it's only 2 blocks high. It'll be fine. Okay, let's go ahead and just section this off so that I can... yeah, so I can drain it. Okay. Okay, probably not the most efficient way I could have done that, but that's all right. Okay. Okay. Would like to pick up all of that, so we're okay. All right, so yeah, the idea is we're going to have hopper minecarts, I think, coming under this, dropping their junk, right? Because they'll pick up a bunch of stuff, because hopper minecarts are fast, right? They'll pick up a bunch of stuff. I could have it drop almost immediately into some form of collection system, right? Right. I can have the minecarts go back and forth, break, get ejected, come back, break, get ejected, but all of the stuff will get flushed out into a water stream, which I have to be very careful with because, again, anything water related in here will end up with guardians in it. So if I build it if I build the collection system below here, right? Remember, S. Here's the bounding box of the thing. It disappears under here. So any water that's down at this level, I don't have to worry about guardians showing up in. Drowned, maybe. If there's enough light, it's not an issue. But guardians, I don't have to worry about down under here. Okay. All right, so that's great. Okay, that's great. That's a thing to think on. All right. Okay, so how are we going to do the thing? That is a question. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go get back and get all of my redstone making tools. And say, well, we can figure out the design of this drop shaft, at some point. At some point before we start sending guardians down it, right? But I also need to figure out where I want the guardians to spawn. And we can do this in a number of ways, okay? And they're all sort of interesting. So obviously I'm going to have to be able to walk over here to get to the kill chamber so I can slice and dice these guys, okay? Right. The idea here is if I'm not here, they'll eventually die on the magma. If I am here, I can hit them with the looting sword, okay? Both are great. Okay. Until we light up the areas underneath, we'll probably actually get better rates by having this be as an AFK farm. Okay, so we'll have them swing in from 4 different directions, I suppose. Because why not? If we did that, so we would have to have water that would stop here. Okay. I don't know that I'm going to build this out of prismarine, but I am. That means we would have the last bit of the water would be there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Would have to be where a water source block is to send the guardians down. Okay. Okay. Now, the more guardians that spawn, the better. And the more spawning spaces they have, possibly the better. It's just a matter of where that's all going to happen. So 1. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, these are just sort of temp blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what I'm looking at here potentially is I could set up bubble columns here, right, that send guardians up. But that doesn't have to be the only place I do it, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Right, because I can send them up. Right, I can send them up from bubble columns here. Okay, which would be great. But I really like the idea of having windows looking out at the ocean, because that's always a good look, right? But having guardians spawning in those windows and shooting up and eventually coming over this way. So I like this idea. I really do like this idea. Don't know how I'm going to make it work, but I do like the idea of... All right, so I could have the spawning tubes here if I wanted to. Okay. I could have water walls here where the guardians go up and they flush into a middle channel, and that pushes them over and over and over, and then down into our happy little kill chamber here. Okay. Which is great. Okay. Love it. It's just a matter of how that's all going to behave, but it's okay. Which means the center of our farm is here. Right? Yeah. Let's go mark this on the other sides. Okay. So this would be here and here. All right. Yeah, I kind of like the plan here. Again, it's sort of vague and undefined, but I do sort of like what's shaking in my wee little mind. So if I have the guardians all whoosh up with a water stream that pushes them over to the center, okay, which is totally doable, right? They whoosh to the center, and then we have a center path that takes them in and drops them down. And I can do that from all four sides, right? That would be good. Okay. So far, I'm liking where this is going. All right. It's just a question of the size of the spawning windows. Probably 8 blocks, right? Which isn't actually that big, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That puts us right in the middle of this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, my head's in the way. Get out of the way. All right, try this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that puts me right there. That's not large. Okay. So, when it's okay, and if I have one on each side, so it'll come out that way and over there, and then I'd still have a bunch of space in here that I can do stuff with. Okay. I don't know what, but stuff. Okay. That's stuff is a thing that I can totally have. Right? But yeah, then they can just all bubble all the way up that way and it'll be great. In fact, if I got really clever with it, I could dig those. I need to light up a beacon again. But I could dig those all the way down to down to the dark areas, right? And just let maybe like glow squid spawn, but glow squid aren't going to get pushed around by the bubble columns any more than regular squid are, because squid are stubborn like that. Okay, they don't go where you tell them to go. They are stupid. Okay, so now what? But yeah, that's okay. I was just trying to think of ways I could add squid to this, but not really getting a lot here. So I'll figure out something. And I don't think squid spawn higher than sea level, so I can't like have a tank in the sky that has them drop in. I'd have to basically have something out here, which the squid could spawn in, but because yeah, you can see outside this wall there are no guardians because the guardians will only spawn inside this area. So yeah, all right. All right. So this is an interesting question then. So if I were to, let's see, let's set a shape, and I want a, to add a shape, I need a despawn sphere. Okay, and figure this one. This is the Guardian Farm sphere. Okay. And I need this to actually be over 1. Call it 5297. But actually this is probably fine. All right, now if I turn this, well, let's sleep first, and then we'll be able to see everything better. All right. All right, so now let's take our despawn sphere. If I'm down here, standing, right, you can see there's this huge swath of ocean, and coming down this way, right, there's all of this area that's caught up in that sphere. And that's bad, okay? That's not good for anybody. It's a good-sized trial chamber. Kind of. I'll have to raid that and just see if it's got more wind breeze spawners. Anyway, so let's take this sphere and let's send it up to Y100. That's 700. That's a little high. 100. Okay. So if it's up at 100, okay. So that's better, I guess. All right, let's take it up to 200. Okay, that's too high. So 150. 170. 190. Okay, 180. Okay, actually 170 might be 75 maybe. So basically what I want this to do is I want this sphere. Okay, so yeah, so that needs to be, yeah, I need to drop that down a little bit more. So let's bring this down to here. Okay. Let's say I take it down to here. Okay. So what I would have to do is I would have to set my AFK area at those coordinates, but at Y165. Okay. And basically that means the only mobs that are going to spawn are going to spawn inside this area. Yeah. I think what I would need to do actually is let's bring it down one more. I think will be sufficient. Yeah, so if I were to set those guardian walls that I was talking about, if I were to put them here, right, they won't spawn below where this red is anyway, which is fine. And then basically nothing's going to spawn down here, even if it could, because if I'm up on the surface, obviously it's not going to be an issue. Now, if I want to come down here and slice it with my sword, then all of these caves and things down here, I'm going to have to go light up and mob-proof them so that the only things that spawn here are going to be the guardians. Okay, that is going to be a long and painful process. Okay, not impossible, just long and painful. Okay, so all right, so that's not bad. Now, the other thing is you see in these corners, right? The spawning area goes up a little bit, but I don't think I'm going to do anything in the corners for the guardians. So yeah. So if I do that, they're not going to be able to spawn. Guardians aren't going to be able to spawn below this level anyway. So if I have some water streams and stuff, I don't have to worry about guardians down there. Okay, I have some ideas here, and there are a couple of interesting things I might do. So let's say I have 2 minecarts that run back and forth here, okay? And they go both directions. So, I mean, I could have 4, but 2 will be easier. Or I could have them swoop under the killing chamber here, pick up all of the drops, get to a place, break the hopper minecarts. The drops will go into a water stream. The minecart will go into a hopper to get pushed back out and dispensed back up onto the track. Right? And so I could run those. I could run that back and forth really fast. Right? It'll drop things, very quickly. So, but if I do that, I could then send drops to 2 different sides. Right? I could have them go this way and have them go this way on that far side over there. Right? Where they would then get fed through sorters and into crafters and all sorts of other good stuff, which is wonderful. And then maybe into some overflow or something, but all of that would be underground. I would definitely need to set up a beacon and dig out a bunch of stuff for the storage. But that's a definite idea. Okay. I like kind of where this is going. The squid wall is going to be a little bit of a pain to deal with, but just because we're going to have to dig out this big pile of stone, and it turns out there's a lot of stone there. And there's a lot of water on the other side of it, which is not ideal. So we'll have to figure that out. Okay. All right, so that's it thing. So 164 is going to be way the heck up here, right? That is correct, right? Yeah, 164. Okay. So yeah, so way up here. All right, which is fine, I guess. It's definitely a place that you can get to. Totally. Yeah, we'll have to do all sorts of fun stuff to get up here, but okay. All right. So yeah, that'll just be a little AFK box. What I could do, I could try to set up a couple of different, um, nether portals, but this is pretty high. Trying to get everything to link properly could be a problem up here and then down inside there, but I'll think about some ideas. There are definitely things I can do. Again, once I'm above the water line here, the top of that box, I can use bubble vaders again all I want to. I don't have to worry about all of our happy little squids. So, right, because they won't spawn that high up. Okay, so that's a thing. All right. Well, that's good to know. Oh, sorry, my nose has just started to itch. Something fierce, man. Right on the outside, on the edge. Okay. All right. So we can do that. All right. Kind of like where this is going. So what I need to do now, as I said, I need to go get a bunch of redstone bits. And I am going to have to reset up the beacon because we're going to have some digging to do. All right. Well, let's do that real quick because that's easy. Here. Yep. One of these things is not like the others. Okay. Again, I should think about dyeing that. Okay. Okay, that I am going to need this. All right. So I think I'm going to be doing most of my digging kind of on this side. So let's set this up. Well, I would like to be kind of centered so that I can get that wall, but I guess the beacon has a range of 50 blocks. This whole thing is 60 blocks wide, so this will be okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Okay, I'm not totally convinced that this is going to be the right place for it. It will probably be in the way, but we're going to have some digging to do, and I would rather not deal with the not have to. Actually, I would just rather have the beacon to dig faster. All right. Okie dokie. So much happy iron. Except for that one. That's unhappy iron. It needs to be removed from the food chain. Okay. I don't know why you would have iron blocks in your food chain, but you know, sometimes you do. It's just the way these things go. All right, and beacon. All right. Haste and haste. All right, and we have haste too. Perfect. Good, so we'll be able to get all of our digging done significantly faster, which will be great because we're going to have a lot of it to do. Okay. All right, and I just want to double check. If I come over here, see, am I still in range of the beacon? Yes, I am. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that'll make things easy. What I am going to need, though, is crazy amounts of glass. Is that all lit up there? Yeah, just a little dim, but it's okay. All right, so I'm going to need crazy amounts of glass. I'm going to need blocks, all sorts of good stuff. So that's something I may go get off camera. Okay, do some resource gathering off camera, but I think I kind of like what's going to happen here. These I don't need to worry about anymore because I'm not going to do those center columns. I mean, I still could. I mean, there's certainly a possibility that I could do some other columns of guardians in the middle that flush them up and out, you know, have all that sort of fun stuff happen. But you know, how that's going to happen, I don't know, but that's totally a thing. Anything else I need to think about before I get too much further with this project? I don't think so. Like I said, I can take the mine carts. We'll collect, we'll break, which will flow into water streams so that I can then run over all sorts of collection stuff. And the cool thing is I could take each side, like I could have one side that's focused on, I don't know, we could have it focused on sea lanterns, right? How do you craft a sea lantern? Is it something cool? Probably. Okay, sea lantern, which I don't have here, but sea lanterns. Okay, so it's both materials, the shards and the crystals. Okay. Good to know. All right, so yeah, so we could do that. And then these blocks, I think the prismarine blocks are made from just the shards, right? Yeah, that's just the shards. That's the shards in black dye. And that's lots of shards. So the crystals are only used for sea lanterns. Okay. All right. So yeah, we'll have an interesting thing. So we'll do a lot of collecting. We'll try to. So actually, what I could do is I could set up sea lantern crafting on both sides, and I could then have one side that does blocks or bricks and one side that just does prismarine. Right, so we'll get the sea lanterns, and we'll get the leftovers will go into the other blocks and things. Okay. I can see good things happening there. That would be awesome and amazing. All right. And then I don't know, we'll see how fast it comes in as they're being auto-crafted. I may do something fun with the storage room, but you know, whether I do shulker loaders, which I totally could do, or if I do if I don't and just drop them into double chests. I mean, either would be fine, but yeah. So we've got definitely have some ideas. Right. All right. Well, that I think is going to do it for me. We've got some plans, some fun stuff to work on next week. But before then, I want to give a shout out to my supporters at musicfreegaming.com. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can become a supporter at musicfreegaming.com, get your name in the credits, all that good stuff. You could also become a member here on YouTube or subscribe on Twitch or on Kick, however you feel like doing it. Those are great. But if you subscribe at musicfreegaming.com, you get lots of other perks, so you should check that out. Other fun things, I'm going to be streaming again at 7:30 a.m. Saturday morning. I'm going to be playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. We're going to be doing that for a while, I think, for our Saturday streams. So check that out. And until next time, be excellent to each other. And this is Music Free Gaming signing off.